If you would like to know how to create the flowers for a scrapbook album, then stay tuned and I will show you 3 different flowers and how to do them. Hi, here's Max again, and today I'm going to show you 3 ways to create a paper flower. And we start with the embossing flower. Here's how it looks, and this is how to do it. We first need a medium-size flower die. I'm using the Tattered Florals of the Tim Holtz collection by Sizzix. In addition to that, we need an extra thick piece of fun foam for the embossing. Now we are cutting 4 flowers out of plain cardstock. And we are cutting 3 of them between the petals halfway up to the middle. After we've done that, we need a stylus. This pen with a metal ball tip is available in a lot of sizes and styles. For example, I am using one that is part of the handles of my punch pliers. We start with a piece that is not cut between the petals. We are pressing the stylus along the edges of the petals so that these are bending upwards. Then we are moving along the petals from the outside to the inside to give the petals a 3-dimensional shape. After that, we are switching the sides and moving the stylus in circles around the center of the flower. By doing so, the petals are lifted upwards, finalizing the dimensional look. We are working on the next die cut in the same way by forming the outer edge and the bigger parts of the petals. After we flip the sides, we are now pressing a little bit more when doing the circular motion in the middle. Because we cut these pieces, the petals are now bending even more, and the technique remains the same on the 3rd piece. But we again increase the pressure on the center and also increase the circular motion on the backside to bring the petals even closer together and into a very upright position. On the last piece, we only move along the edges and then flip it already to work on the back side. Other than with the first 3 flowers, we are moving the stylus along the petals on the other side. This is bending the petals towards the inside, different to the others we did before. When we now do the circular motion, you can see that the flower is completely curling to the inside. And we even increase this effect by moving horizontally across the petals so that we finally end up with a blossom that is building the inner part of our flower. We are now using some craft glue on one side of each petal and finally pressing everything together to get it into the desired shape. Before we adhere all parts, we first have to work a little bit more on the previous piece. It should be tight around the inner part of the flower, but the ends of the petals shall already bend towards the outside. We can easily shape this with our fingers, and then we are gluing all parts together and are using the stylus again to press the pieces together in the center. You can always shape the pieces again until you come to the final look. This works with almost all kinds and sizes of flower shapes, which I want to show you with these small pieces from a flower punch. As the pieces are now much smaller, I'm using a smaller stylus, but the technique on all the pieces remains totally the same. 3 of the pieces will be cut again, and the last one remains as it is. all of them will be embossed again as we did before, and the last one bent again only to the inside. And finally all pieces will be sticked on top of each other to build the flower. And after our flowers are dry, we can start to embellish them. I am using Stickles Glitter by Ranger for that and stay in the color of each flower, only emphasizing the edges of the petals. And so we get to the next flower technique. I call it the crumple flower, and here you have a close-up on it. For this you will need a scalloped circle die or punch. The size doesn't matter, but the bigger your pieces are, the more of them you will need. I am using a 1 3/4 inch punch and will need 10 pieces of this. I am coloring the edges of the pieces with Distressing by Ranger. I am using a mini mister to spray the pieces with water before I crumple them. Likewise the embossing with the Stylus before, we are breaking up the fibers of the paper by crumpling it this time when it is wet. Afterwards we reopen all the palettes very carefully as they are now wet and very fragile. As soon as we piled up the pieces, we are taking a paper piercer and pierce a hole right into the center of all the pieces and hold them together with a brad. Now we are putting the package flat on the table and bend every single piece upwards and crumple it around the brad. Each new piece wraps around the previous one until we come to the last one. When we are done with that, we are modeling the flower by carefully opening the layers a little bit again. As soon as the flower is dry, it stays in that shape and the paper gets stiff again. And here we go with the third method, and surely I have another close-up for you. I call these rolling flowers, and you will need dedicated dies for them. When I first saw these snail-shaped dies, I didn't even think of the possibility that this could be a flower. But here is how it works. We also need to break up the fibers here as well. This time we are using a pencil, or even better, a small wooden skewer, and rolling the die-cut piece over it. Then we are using a hot glue gun to fix the outside of the die-cut piece to the skewer. But be careful, this stuff is indeed very hot. Next we are putting some hot glue dots along the piece and start rolling it around itself until we get to the inner end of the piece. This end is often shaped to build a platform for the flower to stand on, or is just a little bit bigger to wrap it around the flower. But before we adhere this, we cut the skewer and then cover it with this end. To cover the upper piece of the skewer, I'm simply using a dot of Stickles again. So, I hope that answered a lot of questions with regards to the paper flowers I usually use. And if you liked it, then please give me a thumbs up. And if this is your first time here at Color Your Life, then I would love to have you subscribe, because every week I will come up with a new video trying to inspire you to bring a little bit more color into your life. If you want to comment your like or dislike, have questions or suggestions, then please use the comment field below. I would also love to hear how you do your flowers on your projects. And if you would like to see more, here are the videos about the album I used the flowers for. Just click on them or on the info card here on the page. Hope to have you back again next week. Take care and bye bye.